Tell me a little bit for all the folks out there that have never gone through this and might never go through this kind of experience. What was it like when you got that first phone call that said, "Hey, Ashley, are you interested in being in Star Wars? Are you interested in maybe playing a character that's the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker?" Like, how does that all register in your mind when you first hear that?
Well, that's a great question because first of all, I was in complete shock when I got the call because my audition and my callback was terrible. I mean, it was literally like one of my worst auditions because they wanted Ahsoka to have an Icelandic accent, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Icelandic accent. What does
Interesting.
that even
yeah.
sound like?
Well, the funny thing is I still can't do it to this day. But Dave Filoni wanted Ahsoka to sound like Bjork, and
Oh,
yeah, but he didn't say Bjork. He just said an Icelandic accent. And so I actually did. I went and I studied with the best dialect coach in LA. I mean, like apparently all the celebrities go to him to learn, accents. And he was amazing. Like he literally taught me Icelandic in like 4 hours. The problem is I learned like pure Icelandic, which
mm.
mostly sounds Irish. And so I go into the callback and I'm doing this Icelandic accent, but it sounds Irish. And, really what got me the part was how I acted in between takes because I did the first take and, Dave Filoni stops me and he was like, no, I want it to sound more Icelandic. And I raised my hand and I said, I'm sorry, but I am doing Icelandic. I don't know what you want.
Right, right.
And like, I'm not one to talk back to the director. Like, I just don't do that. But I was so frustrated because I wanted the part so bad.
Yeah.
Like, imagine like having the opportunity to originate a Star Wars character and you just like feel it slipping away through your fingers. And so I was so frustrated. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Finally, they let me do a couple takes in my own voice. But I walked out of there and I told my husband, I was like, there's no way. I didn't get it. And I actually didn't find out that I got the part until like 6 weeks later. And when they called, they just said, hey, you got the part and it's this new character, but I didn't know anything about her. I literally knew nothing about the part that I booked
Mm.
until I went into my first session. And then I sat there for 4 hours and they told me all about Ahsoka, like who she was going to be. But the problem was I literally had to sign my life away in an NDA. And I couldn't even tell my family or my husband or anyone. They said, you can't tell a soul. And so I didn't. Like I had to keep this secret to myself. I told my husband a year later who I was
Oh,
playing.
wow.
Because they let him sign an NDA. So finally I could tell him. And then I couldn't tell the rest of the world until 2 years later. So it was a really hard secret to
Wow.
keep.